All right, ladies and gentlemen, this week we are working on drawing conclusions. Yeah, if you don't know what it is, you'll have a lot to learn this time. Drawing conclusions is really important because you'll use this in all skills of life. It's going to help you to be able to solve problems, to see beyond the obvious of what happens to you and the people that you meet so that you can evaluate what's going on around you. When you're reading, it helps you to understand better what's going on and also to get the deeper meaning of things that the author wants you to know, but wants you also to be smart enough to be able to figure it out with her or him actually having to say it directly. So let's go. First, it's helpful to define what drawing conclusions is not. There is no actual drawing or painting or any sort of art involved with drawing conclusions. It's about reading. It's more than just facts. If you can take a paragraph and tell me all of the information into it, you are retelling me something, but you're not actually drawing any conclusions. And drawing conclusions is also not making up something crazy that doesn't make sense with what you read. So here's what drawing conclusions is. Using what you already know and then adding information from the passage to make some sort of logical statement about what is going on in the paragraph. It's kind of like using a crystal ball. So let's look at this example. Sheldon raised his head skyward. A gentle breeze blew through his hair. Bazinga, he thought. Now he would have to wear sunscreen on his walk in the park. There are several things that we can determine from reading this passage. So here are some things that are not conclusions. A breeze was blowing is not a conclusion because it actually said that in the paragraph. It called it a gentle breeze, but it was still a breeze. And same thing here. Sheldon taking a walk is not a conclusion because the author told you that he was going to. This is not a conclusion because it doesn't make sense with what the author tells us. The author said that Sheldon was going to have to wear sunscreen. You don't wear sunscreen when it snows. And Sheldon living in Arizona is not a conclusion because we don't have enough information in that paragraph to be able to tell where he lives. He could live just about anywhere and still have the same event happening. So here are some conclusions we can make. The sun is shining. The author doesn't tell us that, but since we know that he's going to put sunscreen on, we have to conclude that it's actually sunny. We can conclude that Sheldon gets sunburned easily. Most of us don't put sunscreen on when we go outside for a walk, but Sheldon, he's got white skin, and so the sun probably turns him into a lobster. It's probably spring or summer, and we know that because, again, the sun is out, and if Sheldon's going for a walk, he's probably not doing it when it's cold. And the last thing we could conclude is Sheldon is looking through a window. Now, this might not be true. And if it is, it's going to have to be an open window because he could feel the breeze. So he might also be outside, so we could conclude any of those, but it still makes sense with what we know. So here are the steps to drawing a conclusion. I bet you can guess what the first one is. Code the text. You are never going to get rid of coding the text. It's going to happen from now until the end of the year, so you better get used to it. We code the text so that you can think while you are reading. It helps you to understand better, and it's going to help you make conclusions this week. Step number 2 is decide which statements are facts that you can read in the text. Get rid of all the opinions. Get rid of all of the irrelevant information. And then eliminate information that doesn't make sense with what you read. This one is more of a multiple choice part. When you have 4 choices and you have to figure out which ones are wrong and which ones are right. So let's practice a bit. Go ahead and pause the video and take a read of this paragraph, and when you're done, unpause it and we'll keep going. first step is coding, and you probably know the topic, foxes. That's pretty easy. And there are also 3 signal phrases, such as, consists of, and for example. Next step is the main idea. We know it's about foxes. What is it about? What's about their diet? It's about where they live. So, foxes sleep during the day and hunt at night. And then we have relevant information about the small animals they eat, the eggs and the berries, and how they live near people, but they're usually hidden. So let's draw some conclusions. Check out this statement. Foxes are afraid of people. Would this be a fact or a conclusion? Well, the paragraph didn't actually say foxes were afraid of people, but it says that they hide from them. And we know that we hide from things that we are afraid of. So that's a conclusion. Foxes eat small animals. Well, that was the second sentence. Came right out and said it. It even told us what kind of animals that they eat. That one's just a fact. Number 3, foxes can see well in the dark. It said that they hunt at night. At nighttime, it's dark. And if it's dark, we know that we have problems seeing. But if a fox is able to hunt in the dark, it probably doesn't. So that's a conclusion. And the last one, foxes know how to climb. That was part of the very last sentence where it told us that when foxes want to get away from people, it climbs a tree. So the author just told us that they do. So that one's just a fact. Let's look at another paragraph. We're going to code it, and then we're going to try figuring out and eliminating answers in a multiple choice question. So go ahead again, read this paragraph, and pause while you're reading. And when you're done, hit play, and we'll go on. Topic is pretty easy this time again. Jellyfish, just like the title says. There's only one signal phrase here, characteristics. The main idea was a little bit harder this time because we know it's about jellyfish, but specifically it's about how the jellyfish stings. The rest of the paragraph goes on to talk about things like the long arms and how those arms trap the sea animals and sting them with poison and take them to the mouth at the center of their body. So let's look at this multiple choice question. What can you conclude from this? Now this question is very similar to the questions on multiple choice tests. They'll ask things like, what can you conclude? From this passage you can tell. What conclusion can you draw? All of those mean you can't just have a fact. It has to be something that you put together with what you know that makes sense. So let's eliminate some things here. A, jellyfish have a few short arms. Well, this is just flat out wrong because the passage told us they have hundreds of long arms. So it's not even a fact, it's just wrong. B, a jellyfish is a type of balloon. This we have to use our own brains to know. We know that a jellyfish is not a balloon, it's an animal. So that cannot be a conclusion. Letter C, jellyfish poison can hurt people. Well, the passage told us that we shouldn't touch jellyfish because it could sting. And from experience, I know that things that sting are painful, which means that they hurt. So that could be a conclusion, but I'm not going to commit to it till I've looked at all possible answers. So D says jellyfish mouths are in the middle of their bodies. That's not a conclusion because the paragraph actually told us that. That's a fact. So what can we conclude from this paragraph? Jellyfish poison is hurtful. And that's all it is. This week you will practice deciding which statements are facts and which statements are conclusions, and you'll get some practice with multiple choice, and we're even going to play musical chairs at the end of the week. So don't forget to stay tuned on the next slide for your transmogrification challenge. So we are on week 4 with transmogrifications, and congratulations to all of our winners so far. Don't forget to try this. Get out your dictionary and see if you can figure out what nursery rhyme has been switched into higher level vocabulary. And the first person to post their answer in class chatter will get a candy bar this week, so good luck!